Right, good evening. If you are coming in, give me a hello. If you're on replay, drop a replay. So if you're coming in, put a 1 in the comments for me. Some great questions as ever tonight. Good evening, how are we doing? Hope we've had a good day. Busy day here, sessions in the morning, and then in Oxford Brookes today lecturing, which was always good fun. And then back in tonight for more sessions. Busy evening. So, or day, I should say. But we are here, loving the questions coming in, which I've got in front of me here, plus added a few more in as well. So if you're coming in, put a 1 in the comments for me. This just helps me know that you can hear me. And also let me know your biggest lesson from today, in terms of all the strategies that we've been through as well. Hey, Debbie, how are we doing, Tanya? How are we doing? So, just going to tag a few people in on here. Perfect. Thank you, Tanya. So I've just put the questions in. So hopefully we can go through these. So I'll just wait for a few people to come in on here. So if you are coming in, or if you're on replay as well, drop a replay and let me know your biggest take home so far from this week. Some great wins already in terms of getting the workouts in, which is the most important thing. So we will delve into the questions in a minute. I know a few people are just coming in now. So how are we doing, Debbie? So, okay, let's jump into the questions. So if you do have any questions tonight, do put them in the comments as well, and I will get to them as well. But I'll start off with the questions that we had earlier on. Remember, it's day 3 already, which is crazy. You're still here. You're still tuned in. You've made progress of whatever just by being here now. You've done workouts. You've at least been more aware. And this is important and often underrated, in that being aware of some of the things that you're doing is the first step to change, because being conscious of it is key. Adding a distraction in that distracts you from going into autopilot. And, you know, whether that is every time you go back to doing the old thing that you're trying to change, you just say the word change. That's a distraction straight away that your body is, what the hell's going on here? Normally I'd be bored, I'm stressed, it's late at night, I start raiding the fridge, I just shout the word change. It sounds bizarre. Hey Jane, how are we doing? And it is bizarre, but our brain is a funny thing. You'll probably laugh and you'll probably bring you into the moment. You might get some joy from laughing. You might get some different emotion from laughing. Anyway, Tanya, lesson, plan meals ahead before feeling hungry and then grabbing something just because it's convenient. Yeah, absolutely. Make it easy and convenient to make healthier choices. Do you have 5 protein snacks handy? Really easy one to make sure that if you have 5 protein snacks handy around, you're probably more likely to choose protein, which brings me on. I'll start with the last question because that's quite relevant. No matter what I do, I'm not losing weight. Okay. I've tried, I eat healthily. I'm so busy. I barely pick. I don't snack. I eat healthy meals, like good protein. I exercise a lot, but nothing ever changed. I'm perimenopausal. Does this mean I'll never lose weight? Now, it could do. It could mean that you might struggle to lose weight and it makes it a little bit harder. However, one thing that we went through here is there's not actually enough data to say with confidence that you won't lose weight. And what we need to do here is, if you've exhausted everything here, you're not really feel like you're eating that much. We don't know how many calories you're actually eating, which is really important when you get to this stage. I'm not saying everyone has to calorie count, but what we do know is that calories in, calories out is the science behind losing body fat, regardless of the diet you do, whether you do keto, vegan, whatever. Calories in, calories out is the key. Now, there's certain protocols that will make it easier to stick to it and less so. There's some diets where you're going to have a lot more energy, which is probably going to mean that you stick to it more easily. There's some diets that you're going to find that you can do without thinking about it like too much. You know, some people like fasting because they're like, oh, I don't have to plan my meals now. I have a rule. I don't eat between these times and I feel good doing that. And that's fine too. So what I would suggest in here, if this is you, is to write down and track your calories for at least 3 weeks. I know it sounds a long period of time, but you want to get to know what your weekends are like, what your weekdays are like. This is exactly what we would suggest, by the way. I also want you to weigh yourself daily, every morning, after using the loo, before eating or drinking. So you weigh daily, you get your calories daily. Now, you're not allowed to emotionally respond to any of these weights. Any of these weigh-ins you do, no emotional responding. You just take them down as data points. We then take the average every week. So we add up all the calories over the week, divide them by 7. That gives you your average daily calories. So if you ate 1,000 calories one day and, 2,000 the next, we would add them together. That's 3,000 calories in total. Divide it by 2. That's 1,500 on average. Then we would look at what your weight does over that period of time. And what this gives us is an average weight and average calories. Then we can see over time what your weight does when you're at these average calories over a 3-week period. Then we can see, okay, from here, how was your hunger? Could you change anything? Well, I'm barely ever hungry. Okay, well, why don't we slightly decrease your calories on this day or here and see what your weight does now? And I want you to make sure you maintain your protein intake, if not increase it. We know that eating protein burns and digests more calories than any other nutrient. It also keeps you fuller for longer, so you'll be more satisfied. And it can also help you recover from exercise, which then means you're more likely to want to exercise more and burn more calories because you feel better afterwards. You may be more likely to still walk the dog even though you're exhausted from the exercise that you've added in. These all lead to your calorie expenditure and NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, as it's called in Latin. Hey Annette, hey Laura, hey Sharon, hey Jules. So in short, you would need to collect data first, okay? Don't conclude that you just can't lose weight, because if you believe that you can't lose weight, guess what you'll do? You'll live up to that and you probably won't lose weight. Why? Well, we'll probably do the things that don't live up to that. We know from research, one study that showed that they got two groups of people. They did a cycling test and they said to the people, hey Louise, how we doing? They didn't say, hey Louise, how we doing? That was me. They said to the people, we're going to do a cycling test. They both did the cycling test. Then they said to the people, half the people, you've got good genetics for cycling. To the other half, they said, you've not got the good genetics. Now, here's the interesting part. To the people they told the good genetics to the people they told they had good genetics, they actually had the bad genetics. To the people who said, you have the bad genetics, they actually had the good genetics. So they told them the wrong way around. So let's take the people who were told they had bad genetics. They actually had the good genetics. And what happened when they redid the test? They did worse, even though they had good genetics for it. They believed they didn't have the good genetics. And what happened in the other group? The group who had bad genetics but were told they had good genetics, surprise, surprise, they did better. And it just goes to show that what we think, we will live up to. The placebo is a massively important thing. For example, when they did the milkshake study, which is quite groundbreaking in terms of psychology, they gave people a shake, which was 300 calories, and they told them it was slim. It was this diet one, it's a slim one, and they gave it to people, and people said they were still hungry, it wasn't really enough, and they felt like they needed more. They then gave the exact same shake, but just with different packaging, indulgent, smooth, creamy, luxurious, and they said that it was more calories, and people felt full, satisfied, even at the same calories, the same drink. What we believe in our head can dictate what we do, and to the extent, not just psychologically, but this is the important thing, physiologically. Physiological changes. And what I mean by this is the hormone called GLP-1 actually changed. Ghrelin changed. So ghrelin is a hunger hormone. So some of our hunger hormones were suppressed because we believed we were more full up. That is fascinating. How our physiology can impact our psychology. That I can do it, I can't do it, is probably more important than we think. Anyway, I digress. We need to collect data on that. That's important. And that brings me to Nikki's question. And Sean agreed with this. So after doing the exercises for 3 days, I am aching so much. Should I miss a day or work through it? This is a good question. So aching is only one measure here. If you're not aching, it doesn't mean you're not doing it properly. If you're doing something new, different, you are more likely to ache a little bit. If you're more consistent than you have been, you're more likely to ache a little bit. If you look at the research, if your recovery is good, you're sleeping well, you're getting good protein in, generally the more you do something, the more your muscles will get used to it, and you'll probably be okay. And you'll probably get used to it quicker than you think, and you'll stop aching quicker. You'll also be fitter, stronger. You adapt to it. If you're not quite getting good sleep, you're struggling a bit with that, your diet's not been on point, maybe everything due to your sleep, because your energy levels, and you've got a lot of stress going on as well, maybe it is worth taking a bit of a day off. But one thing I'd say is maybe do the 3-minute test. Try it for 3 minutes tomorrow. See how you feel. If after 3 minutes, because not like quite a lot of the time we do it and then we actually limber up. Like the amount of times we've had sessions, some of the ladies come in like, oh, I'm quite aching quite a lot today, so I'm just going to go at my own pace. Great, they know that. Your pace is the right pace, as we always say. Go at your level, you get what you want from this. All of a sudden they're like getting into it, like, I'm actually limbering up now. You know what, my lower back isn't stiff anymore. I'm starting to limber up. The blood is flowing around. As you move more, synovial fluid goes into the joints. We're bit more limber. Certain moves we do, especially when it's muscle strength, if you think about deadlifting, squatting, you're actually stretching the quads, stretching the thighs, stretching the hamstrings, and it is essentially like fluid stretching, as I say, like hypertrophy, muscle strengthening work, muscle work. You know, when you're going down nice and slowly, you're stretching the quads in a squat. When you're doing a deadlift, you're stretching the hamstring. Of course, overweight, with weight added into it from you bending over and squatting down, you're adding body weight to it. But this is a great way to help recovery, boost recover. You know, if you looked at certain people's recovery workouts, you might go, oh, so kind of some of the things I did today were actually quite recovery based and they quite complement each other. Maybe that's actually a good thing. And I think any movement, and what I would say is don't just have a rest day. At the very least, just do a walk instead. Do a walk instead if you can. Okay, so that'll be my recommendation there. Perfect. How are we doing, Kathy? So, next question: Weetabix or yogurt for breakfast? So here's an interesting one, a bit like we had yesterday. If you have Weetabix, you like it and it keeps you full up, keep it with it. That's fine. Don't think you have to have yogurt, but obviously yogurt would add protein in. That might keep you fuller for longer, not just at that meal, but at subsequent meals. The lights have gone out. Nobody's home. Hang on. 1 second. There we go. We're back in. So with that, I would say, you know, if you can have protein, then great. But if you enjoy your Weetabix and you want to keep that in, just go with that. But if you are struggling with hunger, maybe what you could do is add in a protein shake with the Weetabix to increase your protein. You might think, oh, I haven't got the calories to do that. But by having that, you increase the volume of food. Volume is really important. That's the weight of the food that you eat. So obviously, if you have Weetabix or yogurt, for example, that's a certain volume. If you add in a protein shake, for the amount of calories, like 80, 100 calories, you're getting a good 20, 30 odd grams of protein added in, plus all that fluid, which is going to keep you hydrated and also keep you nice and satisfied. On the topic of hydration, one of the questions I have, does decaf coffee, teas, herbal teas count as water hydration? Essentially it does, yeah. Like, this is an important thing to consider. Even caffeinated tea and coffee do count to hydrate you more than dehydrate you. But decaf especially, yes, it does count. Of course, drinking water is great. But if you're really struggling, then that's fine. To have some decaf or herbal teas, whatever. If that helps your fluid intake, maybe even might help you keep you full up as well. Sean, are diet drinks okay, or do they make you crave more sugar? That's interesting. It's actually a myth that it makes you crave more. Actually, one of the studies showed that people who had water compared to people who had sugar-free drinks, the people who had sugar-free drinks actually lost more weight because they felt more satisfied than the people who had water. Like it curbed the craving. Now, I'm not saying have sugar-free drinks instead of water at all. If you can just have water, just have water. If a diet drink, though, really does curb a craving for you, then go for it. That's fine. But what I would say with with cravings is, you know, what are you actually craving? Are you bored? Are you tired? How are you feeling? Is the craving actually real? Is it just a habit now? How long does the craving last for? How long does it last for? Do you even know? And if you don't know, is that because we just don't let it ride out? And that's the key thing. Does for you, if you have it, does it open up the floodgates of more food? Or do you feel like, yeah, I have my sweet tooth, done, that's good. I mean, for me, probably, I don't really have that much sweetener other than if I have a protein shake or a protein bar. I might have a bit of Ribena, sugar-free Ribena, or squash. Love that, by the way, hot Ribena in the evening. So good. Bit of vitamin C in there as well. Nice and satisfying, warming. Apart from that, don't really have much sweetener. And you know, sweeteners are fine. They get a lot of bad rep, but you've got to think, what's the alternative here? Okay, if you're going to have full sugar drinks or binge eat, what's the alternative? Well, if a diet drink stops you doing that, it's probably the better thing, considering that you'll lower your calories significantly, potentially create a calorie deficit, lose body fat, which is going to get you good results. Next question. So, hope that helps, Sean. I'm trying to cut out sugars and carbs due to diabetes, also have high cholesterol, so need less fat. So is it bad to eat lots of proteins instead? Jules, no. Eat your proteins, eat your protein. That's going to keep you fuller for longer. Your body can create sugar from protein if it needs it, unless there's actually no physiological need for carbohydrate. It's just your body's easy preferred fuel source. The reason sometimes we feel so good is because it's just sugar form straight in. We can just use it straight away. Protein, your body has to work a bit harder, which is good for fat loss, to create energy from it. So it's not the most efficient fuel source, which is kind of what you want when you're trying to lose weight, because you want your body to be an inefficient machine, right? You want it to be inefficient in every way with your exercise. That's why we talk about form a lot, technique a lot, Fruity Fit. Can you squeeze the thighs a little bit more? Can you keep your chest up, shoulders back? Slow the tempo down so you're being inefficient. You're making the muscles work, not the joints. If we were being efficient, we'd just squat up and down really quickly. And we'd essentially be moving quicker, but there'd be less tension on the muscle, which means we're not burning as many calories, not using the muscles as much. So if increasing your protein, at the end of the day, rather than thinking about cutting out carbs and fats, one way of looking at it is, if I increase my protein and increase my fiber, say, vegetables as well, by default, there's less room on your plate. So a good thing to do is to serve your protein first, then serve your veggies, then see what's left on your plate. Then all of a sudden you've lowered your carbs and fats. Does that help, Jules? Hopefully it is. Ali, hi Matt, sorry we'll miss this evening, but we'll watch on replay. I'm afraid I work in accounting, it is end of year, so too many deadlines to meet. Would like some tips on how to stop constantly eating. As always, hungry. I'm going to follow your food plan, as I'm sure that will definitely help. You need to get back on the right chat. Now I can do it. Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say with that is, again, similar actually to Jules, is can you get protein at every meal? Number one, load up on protein first, load up on vegetables first, then whatever's left, have your carbs and fats on there. You're not restricting. You're not saying you can't have it ever, but by default, by increasing them, you're going to decrease something else. And food volume is so key here. If you're hungry all the time, double up on your protein. Eat protein. Go gung-ho on it. Like, don't be afraid to double up. If you normally have one chicken breast of your stir fry, have to. See what happens. And, you know, I was talking to someone the other day and they were like saying how much they spend on comfort eating, on snacking, on going to the shops to grab the odd chocolate bar. And it was like, she was like, some nights I'll spend like £6 on, you know, from what it's like in a petrol station on the way back, a few bags of crisps, some nuts, a few chocolate bars, and it's like £6. Like, write down sometimes how much we spend when we're on the go or in a rush, and sometimes if we just double up on the protein intake, that might be a quick, easy win for us. So, I'm back. I survived. So, I hope that helps. Any questions on that? Any questions tonight on that one? Hopefully that was helpful. Some great questions as always. Jane, can you count cheese as protein? Good question. So cheese is more fat than protein. So I'd count it more as a fat. However, it does contain some protein. So if you're getting your fats from cheese, it's probably a good thing, because you're going to bump up your protein. If you are vegetarian, then I almost do a bit. I say, because your choice is a bit different, like halloumi cheese, light halloumi cheese as well, decent protein to fat ratio. Things like cheddar, that ratio of fat to protein not great. Things like brie aren't too bad at all. Like you get it's about 350 calories for 20 grams of protein, which isn't actually too bad. So if I was going to choose a cheese, it'd probably be brie for like satisfaction, taste, good protein content, yeah, and fat content as well. So soft cheeses are pretty good. Not like Philadelphia really, like the full fat one, but you can get like low fat. But like brie in terms of is pretty decent. Yeah. What did I have the other day? It was really nice. We had some leftover. Oh, I just put brie in an omelette. Brie in an omelette. That was really nice. Anyway. Yeah. Brie omelette. Bromlette? Maybe. So, any other questions on that? Bromlets, you can get them from Tesco. Pretty sure. Soon. No, it was very nice, I must say. Brie omelette, yeah. Quite fancy one, actually. Maybe tomorrow. So, yeah, cheese, in short, I mean, I wouldn't count it all the time. I'd probably bump up. If you're using the meal maker, one thing you can do with that is go, okay, I'm going to use some of my snack allowance for the fat. So if I've got 300 calories of fat calories to use, you might go, I'll use some of my, instead of having a snack, I'm just going to have I'm going to have more cheese and just use that as my protein source as well. So that gives you a bit more to play with the calories. I'm also going to go lower fat on my breakfast and lunch, say, and choose leaner sources of protein there. And then all of a sudden, you've got a bit more fat to play around and you can have a bit more cheese on there. And eggs, what percentage them is protein? So again, you've got the yolk. So you've probably got about 5-6 grams of protein per egg. So, but they are high quality protein in there as well. So it'll be a bit low, it'll probably be about, yeah, not too different to brie, a little bit more. I'll have to try the brie omelette, yeah, the bromlette. If you go into Tesco and ask them if they sell bromlets, let me know what they say. Let me know which aisle they're in. Yeah. Yeah, no, very nice actually. One of those mate do dinners where you go, oh, that's actually really nice. But one thing that I do like doing, which you might like if you do like omelettes, really simple one, because a lot of it is in the freezer as well. So omelette, so as you would, like a pancake mixture. In the mixture, chuck some sweet corn in there. Like, you can just put it from the microwave if you want, or straight from the freezer. To be fair, it's going to defrost, but just in case, just cook it a bit in the microwave, or defrost it. So sweet corn, spring onion or onion if you've only got onion, that's fine. A little bit of shredded chicken, a little bit of cheese, mix that up straight in. It's like a savoury pancake, really easy one. The sweet corn, cheese and spring onion, yeah, great. So really simple one, but you could do that one with brie as well. So I hope that helps. That's a really simple working from home lunch is what I would say. Yeah, brilliant. So I hope that was helpful. Tomorrow, psychological, physiological, hunger, getting at the one with hunger, which will go well with some of the questions tonight as well. And so we can be more in control of all of this. But again, 6 a.m. workout, 6 a.m. task. We go in day 4. Keep going. Focus on what you can control, not what you wish you can control. This is about making those small changes, whether that's adding in protein, whether that's making sure I serve protein, vegetables first, whatever it is, focus on what you can do on here. So I hope that helps. Any questions, as always, just let me know. Have a lovely evening and we shall go from there. I will see you later. Take care.